Hello, RWorld, and welcome back to RWorldTalk. I am lucky enough to have a superstar top producer in Palm Beach County with us here, Miss Holly Meyer Lucas. Welcome, Holly.
Hello, hello. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for joining us. We're here to talk about you and your business and your branding and how you broke into a really cool luxury market, something that is a bit of a niche. You have a fascinating story that I hear about how you got started in real estate and how you have sort of capitalized on being married to someone who played in the Major League Baseball world, which obviously we need to certainly take care of jumping into those niche markets any way that we possibly can. So why don't you tell us a little bit about that? But before you do, I'm going to address a quick little elephant in the room. Again, we are here in South Florida, and it is pouring cats and dogs outside.
It picked up a notch. Like, I feel like the second you started talking, it was like, I'll show you rain.
Yeah, the heavens have opened up. Exactly. So yeah, why don't you tell us a little bit about you and how you broke into such a cool little market?
Yeah, so my niche is working with professional athletes and their families, and specifically in the baseball world. Okay. And I talk about this all the time in terms of niching down and knowing your personal brand, knowing yourself, and selling to the people that are your people. And it's not lost on me that my niche happens to be the one that gets a lot of press and a lot of attention. Like when you work with celebrities, like you're gonna, of course, garner some noise, right? So I was very blessed to have that be my niche. But niching down, when you first get into real estate, man, I couldn't have recreated it if I tried, in terms of just really identifying a niche that that ended up just being so unique for South Florida, especially at the time too, right? Right. And that's me being like a little bit self-deprecating too, because I think that it's important for new agents, especially to hear, and seasoned agents, like it's never too late to niche down, but I think it's really important for agents to hear that when you're developing your personal brand, just specializing in anything doesn't alienate other potential buyers or sellers. It just doubles down on the ones that are your people to begin with, right? Right. My husband played baseball. He played for 14 years, and so my sphere of influence, he was everywhere. Like minor league journeyman. He was in the big leagues for 2 seasons, which was like enough. I remember when he got called up, when he called me, he was in the minors for 10 years, and I hit the floor. It was everything, him getting called up.
But you guys must have been freaking out. How exciting is that?
It was so cool. It was so cool. And it validated like his entire life, right? Like he went to college and played in college, and then he got drafted. And, after 10 years in the minors, when people ask who you play for and then immediately want to know if you were in the big leagues, like it gets tired after a while, right?
Of course. Well, I mean, you've got to grind it out for so long.
Oh, yeah.
99% of people never get to see the light of day of Major League Baseball.
100%.
So that is like winning the lottery to actually get called up, right?
Like I say this all the time. Like my kids, I have 3 boys, and like best day of my life was when they were born, supposedly, but it was actually when he got called up. Like it was the greatest day of my life. It just validates everything. And I think one of the reasons why my niche has become so, why working with baseball players is such a niche for me is because I get it. Like I have been through the minors with my husband forever and ever. Right. But yeah, niching down and personal brand is like, it's my favorite topic. I love talking about it.
So speaking about that, what are you doing differently than other people are doing? And what have you done differently that has helped you realize some of that success besides just being, besides being in that industry before you got into real estate? I mean, what is it that you're doing in your daily business to make sure that you are setting yourself apart from everybody else? I think,
so when I look back, I've been selling real estate for 8 years, and I pretty much, like the second I got my license, I hit the ground sprinting, and I had some amazing immediate success. And when I look back on what I did that was unique at that time, I think it's 3 things. It's consistency. So it's making the calls and showing up and doing the door knocking and showing up on social media consistently. Like it's not just the one time, the one thing. It's farming your own CRM consistently. It's doing it not even 10 times, but 100 times, right? The second thing is staying authentic to who I am. Like, I said this at the beginning in kind of a self-deprecating way, like my niche happens to be working with celebrities because that's my background, but you could be, like your niche could be, if your dad was a plumber, like your niche could be working with blue collar types, right? Like that would be a phenomenal niche. Mine happens to garner a lot of attention, and it's not lost on me that that's annoying, but staying authentic to who I am and not trying to chase business that is not going to align with who I am as a person. Okay. I use this example all the time. When I first started, I made the tremendous mistake of trying to be too professional. So I literally I took okay, so what you look like, right? Like suited up, tie, like if that is your personal brand, that's who you are. And I tried to, and if you're a successful real estate agent, I would look at this and go like, oh, okay, that's what I need to do. And then I would buy like the black suit and like the thing. And I had the black and white logo and all the,
everything's coming from St. John's now.
Yes. Yeah. Basically. Yeah. And it wasn't me. And the second I realized that my maiden name being Meyer, our logo could be a Meyer lemon. Like the second I started having fun with it.
I love your logo.
It is so, again, something I couldn't recreate if I tried. Like talk about a moment that lemons are having. I get texted every freaking day. Something like Capri and the Amalfi Coast have done me a solid with that. Like straight up. Straight up. Like because the Amalfi Coast has become sexy all of a sudden. So now it's like everywhere people go, there's lemon stuff everywhere.
Right.
Anyway, but when I first started, if I had told myself like that I would be posting these things that are emoji driven and that my logo was like a cartoon lemon, like I would have been mortified.
Right.
That's who I am. Like I literally, like when I walked in the room, I was shooting a piece of social media and it was like, hey guys, what's up? Like, can I cuss on this podcast? Right? Like that's just who I am. So the point there is in real estate, and this is true for any sales career, but particularly in real estate, most people don't get into real estate out of college. They just don't. They have other careers. They have other identities. They have other brands. And it's a very awkward thing when you abandon the career path that you were on and now are all of a sudden a real estate agent. And a lot of people that get into real estate, they don't know how to handle that. So they try to look at the producers and then emulate them. And it's just such a mistake. Be who you are and you'll attract the clients that are going to be your people.
Sure. Okay, well, with that being said, I'm going to get rid of this tie.
Do it.
Because this is not me, and Holly's right. I mean, I'm the guy that's usually on the fishing boat and
I love it.
Cussing like a damn sailor and chugging beers. So, okay, we're going to lose the tie.
Can I share this before we started recording? So I had to ask if we were allowed to cuss. Because it just, like, I feel like this is going to be an organic conversation, and it's going to come out. And listen, I'm a real estate agent. I'm not the executive of a company. Like,
exactly.
You get what you pay for here, Chris.
Hey, some cussing comes out. It comes out. It is what it is. So I recently saw an article saying that you're an Inman brand ambassador, and that is something that I had not heard of before. So what is that, and what? Tell us a little bit about that.
Oh my God, I love it. Any industry, any real estate industry, resource, news outlet, anything, and the association, leaning into those as a real estate agent is one of the most underrated, if not the most underrated thing that you can do. Becoming involved in YPN, becoming involved with your association, becoming involved with going to Inman, going to a Tom Fair, whatever, just show up and go, because you'll meet people that are so like-minded, that are there to educate each other and to just pour into each other, right? So Inman has always been, I always say Inman's always been my girl. Like I've always gone to the Inman conferences, and I've spoken at their events, and they asked me to be an ambassador to basically fight the good fight for them and bring awareness to the fact that their conferences are awesome. And I do that anyway. So to be honest, it's like just they asked me to do it and I was like, well, duh. I mean, I do that anyway. So.
Okay. Fantastic. It's so funny because we've had several people that have been on this podcast so far, and it's a common thread for everybody who is really successful in real estate, that they are all saying, you need to be involved. Why are you not involved? Why are you not going to this conference? Why are you not? This is a relationship business.
Yes.
And like you said, you have to be yourself, number one, because that's the way that you're going to attract like-minded people like you. And hopefully you're going to be able to sell them something one day or sell their house for them. And at the same time, if you're going to these conferences, you're networking with people across the country that have referrals.
Yes.
And they're able to send you things because they know you and they know that you're going to take care of their customer just the same way that they would, because they get to meet you and talk.
Literally, I've sold hundreds of homes to inbound referrals just from me showing up. But I will say that when you attend an event like that, even the local events, so local Realtor Association events, like if our association is putting on an event, go. Like 100%. Go, because here's why. You're not going to get a referral from someone across the county necessarily. I mean, that might happen, but the goal is to get to know someone who's in the same boat as you and to develop a friendship, develop a relationship. Don't show up wanting, the referral, like having commission breath on the referral thing. It's more just having people in your pocket and in your corner who are living the same struggle and are living the same life. Like there is nothing, I mean, when COVID hit, my God, there was nothing more valuable to me than my network of leaders who, like team leaders across the country, where I'm like, yo, what are we doing? Like our agents what's your market like? Like what's happening, right? And even now, when we look at, for example, the ultra luxury space, I belong to several groups where it's like those brokers that sell in that space. And right now is a weird time for ultra luxury straight across the country. And having an awareness and just collaborating in the background is 10 for 10, the most important thing you can do.
So we just had we brought back the Tower Club luncheons that we do down in Broward County in Fort Lauderdale, and just had our luxury panel. And it was interesting to see what's happening with the luxury market, because there's a lot of big changes that have happened. There's changes that have happened across the market as a whole, but especially in that ultra luxury space, there's been a lot of big shakeup.
Well, what's interesting is the luxury buyer has changed so much for South Florida. The luxury seller, though, has not. So making an adjustment to accommodate this mass influx of people that are relocating here because of SALT tax reform of 2018. By the way, if you don't know what that is, Google that. If you're in South Florida, it blows my mind how many people don't know what that is. The reason why so many people have moved here that are multimillionaires, right?
Touch on that if you want.
Yeah, I'm obsessed with this topic. So most people think that this mass migration of Americans across the country was a result of COVID, and it was to some extent. But the bigger catalyst that started it was the 2018 tax reform that Trump signed into law. This isn't political. It is what it is, not what it's not. Eliminating people's ability to write their state and local taxes, so their SALT taxes, off of their federal return. So for multimillionaires in Illinois, New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Illinois, California, those states were they saw the most net decrease in their population to places like Texas, Tennessee, Florida, Nevada, and Wyoming. What's interesting in South Florida, and if you talk to an agent, this is one of my jokes, one of my punchlines.
None of them know anything about it.
Well, they do. The smart ones do. The ones that are dialed in, and the ones listening to this podcast know.
Exactly.
Because they're smart already. This is a waste of time because everyone listening is smart. So, but this is such a funny punchline. I lose more business, screw your local competition. In South Florida, I lose more business to Austin, Texas, Brentwood, Tennessee, right? Because people are evaluating Texas, Tennessee, and Florida as where they're going to relocate for
and Nashville's blowing up right now.
Oh, it's absurd. It's absurd. If someone decides not to buy a house with us, it's because they bought there. It's absurd.
Brentwood, Tennessee.
Anyway, so the luxury buyer, I think it's a really interesting time to be representing buyers in South Florida. But again, the luxury seller, I don't think has changed that much.
Okay, good to know. So you've been featured in some national and local media publications for your success. Obviously, I just saw you in Real Trends or The Real Deal, where you were voted. Okay, The Real Deal. So that was for your success in luxury real estate, obviously, niche market. But for agents that are trying to break into that space, what are 3 things that you think that they should be putting their time and money and energy into in order to sort of get started in the luxury space?
Okay, so in the luxury space, and I'm saying this again, lacing this heavily, that this applies to South Florida, okay? There is so much opportunity for inbound buyers who don't know you from Adam, don't know that you dominate, XYZ neighborhood. If you're the agent that dominates, okay, so let's say that you live in Admiral's Cove, right? And there's an agent in Admiral's Cove that's dominated there forever and ever. It can be kind of deflating. I'm never going to get a listing. Well, guess what? You might get 14,000 buyers while they're focused on getting the listings. And it's never right now is you might get a Zillow lead, a Realtor.com lead. You might get an inbound phone call from something that you posted on social media or TikTok that saw some organic growth, and someone might call you to buy a $2, $3, $4 million property. Here's what I always say: be prepared to accept that phone call, no matter how it comes in. It is not that hard to get a referral from another state, pour into those relationships, right? But the more important thing, besides breaking into the quote unquote luxury space, you might also have a friend's aunt that has a place on Palm Beach that everyone is moving to South Florida right now. It can happen. Anyway, the bigger thing is being prepared for when you get that phone call and knowing the luxury inventory, knowing the players, knowing the different communities, knowing if someone says that they, if someone calls my office and they want to buy a home on the water in a country club, their budget is between 5 and 15. They want direct intercoastal front. There are only 2 communities that applies to in our area or in the market that I sell in. And I only know that because I was prepared. Right. So if you don't know those things, it's going to be really hard to break in. And those are the things that, again, with the consistency of educating yourself and going to the events, go to brokers opens, be around top producers. I always invite everybody, come into my office and sit next to me. You can, if you want, or drive me around, even better. Then I won't be texting on my phone. Be around me, just absorb it,
Yeah. And you know what? You couldn't have put that better. We tell that to everybody who's getting into this market, whether you're going into luxury real estate or whether you're just getting your feet wet in the market. You have to know exactly what it is that you're selling. you've got to go to the broker's opens. You've got to know every house that's on the market, how to get into those communities, whether you're behind that elusive second gate that like, that's like so much exclusivity with that second gate.
Yeah.
So you've got to know those things, and you have to know which communities actually have those types of amenities, because some people really, I mean, they've worked their entire lives to get to the point that they are in, and they probably didn't come for money. Yeah. So now you're in this, they're now looking to buy into this luxury space. And sometimes they're going to say like, oh, I want one of those places that's like behind the second gate that I heard about from my buddy who has been playing for this team for 10 years and has got way more money than me. So it's super important to know all of those features, and especially waterfront. You're selling waterfront, you need to make sure that you know if it's deep water, how many feet of a boat you could have there, what the bridge heights are, if there are any bridges.
Dude, it's so funny.
They're probably not buying it behind the bridge.
You're like, I fish and I do the fishing thing. Like in my head, I can't help it. In my head, I'm like, okay, he's going to care about the bridge height of the Tequesta Bridge. So I'm not going to, because you're a local that fishes and your tuna tower is going to be an important thing. Right. Like, and I know that because I pay attention. Right. And that's not an experience thing though. That's literally just showing up and like watching the agents who are in that price. Like I learned that from Mark Ebel, like and Jay Parker, And if you've got somebody who's looking for waterfront and you don't know what a tuna tower is, you're probably gonna. Yeah. Well, it goes back to the niching thing though too. Like don't be afraid to bring in an agent that does sell in that niche, and who is more experienced than you. Like if you get a phone call from Aunt Betty who's now looking to buy, a $10 million property, and you might cannibalize the relationship with her by not being able to deliver. Call the biggest, baddest agent in your market and ask them to collaborate with you. Sure. One thing that people just don't understand is that at the tippy top, we don't compete, we collaborate. Like 100%. We really don't. I just got off the phone with Christy Sheehan. She's an agent in the Jupiter area. And we were talking about this off-market thing that she has. And then we went back and forth for 15 minutes about other off-market things that we have. And like, who do you have for this? And it was like we probably made a paycheck in that conversation, unbeknownst to us.
All yourself.
Totally. Yeah.
100%. One of the things that you had mentioned, and now it's escaping me, so we're going to move on to something else.
Sorry, I cut you off before.
No, it was fine because it was a good point. It's going to come back to me, and I'll think of it. Okay, old school mentality on $1 million price tag, saying that is now the luxury space, and we just went over this with like I said at the Tower Club. So you're talking about $1 million used to be the luxury market because you could buy waterfront for 400, 500,000. That's not the case anymore. Now you're starting at $1 million for 3 fixed bridges before you're even out to the intercoastal. So when we're talking about luxury real estate in today's market, where does that price point start?
I love this question because my take is a little bit hot. There is no price point. Here's why.
Okay.
I built my business on rentals, selling rent or putting athletes into rentals, putting high net worth people into rentals because they needed a stopgap. You might have a conversation with someone who is buying a $200,000 condo. Does that even exist in our market anymore?
I think there is one.
Yeah, right? Yeah. Well, there's one, the one. They're looking for a place for their daughter, and it's an inbound lead, however it came in, $200,000 price range, right? That person could quite literally be the financial advisor for Bill Gates.
Right.
Our market, our area is Bananarama. Like, it is impossible to name drop people in Palm Beach County, Broward County, because everybody knows everybody. Right. Like, it has, like, name dropping isn't a thing because it doesn't impress anybody, right? Like, I just almost hit Joe Namath with my cart driving down here, like, into Tequesta, because he's, like, wandering around the streets there. So luxury in our market does not, I think it's a mistake to put a price range on that. Of course we have I sold a $30 million oceanfront estate. Like, was that luxury? Hell yeah, it was. Right. But the reason I was able to sell that is because I actually have an understanding of construction, not necessarily luxury. Okay. Like, we have a very weird market here. Other areas, like the suburbs of Dallas, for example, like you can draw on a map where the luxury homes are and where they're not. And most suburbs are like that. South Florida is a different animal. Like, we have all categories of real estate here.
Well, South Florida, you could be on the water and the house is $25 million, and literally you can walk 3 minutes down the road and now you're in, you're 2 streets over now, and where the houses are selling for $500,000.
Oh, totally. Yeah, absolutely.
It's very odd. Okay. So,
but it's mostly the person that you're working. Like, if you're selling a home that's like a $500,000 townhouse in Abacoa, again, you have to deliver that white glove service regardless, 100%. Right? But that buyer might also be a multi-millionaire that's going through a divorce. That is like the wealth in our area. It's really hard for people outside of our area to really understand the magnitude of a high net worth person. Like, they have their financial advisor, they have their family office, they have a cousin, and like, it's a lot. And if you're not prepared I'll say this again, like if you're not prepared to have that conversation and have wherewithal around that, you're not doing yourself justice.
You know what? You might actually get a call from the boat captain because where they're going to park the yacht is way more important than the actual house itself. I had a guy that called and he's like, we have no limit, no limit to what the home is going to cost. I just need to know that his yacht's going to fit there.
Yes.
So it's like, well, who are you to make the decision? Well, you don't know this, but the billionaire behind the yacht captain is given all of his power to the yacht captain to figure out where the hell they need to put that boat. And that's the most important thing to that person at that time.
Literally that exact scenario, copy paste, just happened a week ago in my office. And it's funny, it was a newer agent on my team and he was hell-bent on getting a pre-qual. And he was like, this person's blowing me off. Like he won't give me a pre-qualification. I was like, did you ask if they are paying, that's a cash buy. And like it's so, our area is so weird.
It is weird.
We're so lucky though.
We're so lucky. I had another agent.
Is sickening for people probably across the country because it's like, I mean, it's absurd. Honestly.
It is absurd. I had an agent in my office that she had a rental client that turned out to be the daughter. And you're right, she was the first one to come down to South Florida. And all she was a rental. She was maybe looking at like $2,500 a month, looking for a condo on the beach, whatever the case may be. That ended up turning into millions of dollars worth of real estate sales because she did such a great job with the daughter that the mother and father wanted to buy. Then the aunt and uncle decided that they were going to move down. And then finally the grandparents came and moved down. And the grandparents were the ones that had all the money. So they ended up buying the biggest house out of all of them. And it started with a $2,500 a month rent.
That's it.
So you never know when you're going to end up in a luxury space.
And it is so easy to break in. You just need that one. That's it.
White glove service to everybody, just like you said it.
Yeah.
Okay. So we already talked about that pattern of migration of people coming in. You know, they're saying now that South Florida has become Wall Street South. Yeah. And we are also seeing a lot of people coming from California as well that you had mentioned. This is what I was going at a few minutes ago. But what was happening in California, they basically have put a tax on anybody who's going to be selling multi-million-dollar properties. So do you think that had anything to do with the big influx of people that we had over the last 2 years?
Yeah, 100%. So the transfer tax that they, in 2018, I built and managed my website myself. Like I'm literally the webmaster of our website. And the vast majority of our business comes because
so many talents.
Oh, dude, I am like, it's embarrassing, actually. I'm obsessed with the fact that agents shouldn't be spending a bunch of friggin' money on websites. You can do it yourself. I digress. So I noticed in our analytics that people were hitting our website heavily in 2018 from California. And I actually pitched this story, and this is a good takeaway for people actually to hear. I pitched this story to WPTV, like that we were seeing this massive increase and we were doubling down on it. Like I had ads and all kinds of stuff focusing on California specifically, right up to the tax reform, right? And when you control the analytics and control the data, there's so much that you can learn about what's happening.
Big time.
Oh my God, when you look at like what people are Googling right now, like if you looked at what people are Googling in Palm Beach County related to real estate, it would floor you. The most Googled thing right now that's the most interesting to me is new development in Martin County and whether or not projects in like Indiantown have been approved or projects out west, like what projects, because if you think about it, like right now the inventory is so tight that the normal people, the nurses, the cops, the firefighters, the normal people can't afford to live anywhere. And so they are looking anywhere that development is happening, which is really interesting. Where was I headed with this? Oh, California. So the buyers in California, what's really interesting about Palm Beach County and Broward County in particular is that they don't care about the drive to the beach. So they're okay with being out west. Okay. So whenever you get a call from someone from California, whoo,
that was a big one.
Let's go. Is that right over us? Knowing how to sell to a buyer from California is like, that's probably one of the most.
Anyways.
No, who goes? When's the last time you went to the beach?
I haven't been to the beach in a long, long time. Like honestly, I think the last time I went to the beach was actually to go to a bar at the beach because my sister had a friend in town. But my feet have never actually touched the sand in a year and a half, 2 years.
I mean, I love the beach. Like I love it. Oh, I love the beach.
If you guys are picking up on that, we're having like insane thunder and lightning right
I'm so curious if it ends up picking up on these mics. I'm obsessed with this studio situation.
We'll
have you done like content on what you guys have done for this studio stuff?
No.
I'm obsessed with this. So I'm in the studio, this podcast studio right now, right? And I think that as an association, we were talking about this before we started recording, but as an association, the fact that you guys poured the resources into making this room and featuring agents and featuring like that to me is one of the most valuable things that you guys.
That's what we're all about, trying to give you as much value as possible.
Oh, I love it. I think it's so smart.
Awesome. Okay, so well, we're on our last two questions. First off, AI, ChatGPT. Are you using them in your business, and how important are they to you?
Yes, super into it. 10 for 10 in terms of you need to know how to use it. If you're a real estate agent in particular, like
I agree.
It is real estate, in my opinion, is one of the industries that serves such an incredible purpose to give us our time back. Right now, if you're marketing a home for sale, I said this earlier that like the luxury sellers are still the same, right? Their expectations on you delivering are wicked high right now. Like,
right.
And especially because the market has slowed down a little bit, so it's taking a little bit more time for homes to sell, but sellers a lot of times, they don't give you that leeway. So if you're not on it with the quickness, delivering marketing material and content, like they're going to call you out, right?
Yep.
And I think that that AI just gives us time back and understanding how to use it. It's beyond listing descriptions. It's all kinds of templates. And every time I do a deep dive on AI stuff, I learn something. Like I literally learn something, not only something new, but something that blows my freaking mind every time I look at AI. How are you using AI?
You know what? I just started, I haven't used AI a ton. I've started using it for social media posting just because I'm not great. Like I hate posting to social media. I'll be like,
you hate it,
dead ass honest. I hate it. I hate it. But then I just say to ChatGPT, like, hey, this is what I need. I need a post that's going to like thank so-and-so for blah, 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 whatever. And then boom, this thing spits out and it's like, now I don't have to think about that. And I can go back to other things that are making me money because creating this Facebook post, just like, thanking somebody in my life for whatever. If it was somebody in my life, like family member, yeah, I'm going to go and like take the time to actually write these things out. But if I just have to like throw something out there so people still remember that I'm in real estate and I stay, valid and at the forefront, you've got something on social media saying like, hey, I'm not dead, still here selling real estate.
Yeah.
You could do it in 2 seconds and I can move on with my day and do something else.
Yeah.
So that's been number one for me, is just like getting my social media posts done. But I've heard people use it to create classes for first-time home buyers, and it'll spit out like a 2-hour course that you can go and teach at a hotel lobby ballroom.
Yeah.
So if we are still live and still going, which I think that we are, we just had a big boom here and lost our power for a second. So if the camera went blank for a minute, we are back in action.
How good is FPL? Like we never lose power here.
Yeah, right.
Whenever the power does flicker, it reminds me about how good our utilities are.
100%.
FPL is like, we are lucky here.
We are super lucky.
One thing I loved about Eliana, we were talking about this before we record. That girl is a maniac, and I cannot figure out how to say her name without hiccuping over it. Say her first and last name.
Eliana Black.
Eliana Black.
Yeah.
Anyway, I wanted to give her a shout out for like weeks now on all of the stuff she's doing with YPN.
Yeah.
Her podcast episode with you guys was so good. She's so smart. Anyway, what she said about you were asking her about what she's doing in 5 years, and I loved her answer where she was like, if I'm not doubling down on AI in 5 minutes, I'm panicking. Like 100%. It's so true. Like you need to figure out AI. You guys are doing or the association is doing a
TechCon.
Yeah, where there's going to be a workshop on that.
Oh yeah,
right?
Big time.
Yeah, I need to send all my agents. It's like
definitely send people to TechCon. Get them all to come out. We're going to do a heavy deep dive into not just ChatGPT, but everything AI and the different products that are available and sort of everything that's moving in that space.
It's so fun.
But on to our last question. We asked this of everybody on the podcast. Tell us about a South Florida gem that the listeners may not know about yet. Anything. It could be a restaurant, a bar, a favorite spot on the beach, a park, anything that you love about living in South Florida.
Oh my gosh. Oh no. Oh, a South Florida gem. Okay, so here's what my brain is doing.
Doesn't even have to be South Florida.
Let you have a walk around my brain.
Okay,
so the locals in South Florida, locals have such opinions about these like hidden hot spots that are awesome. And so I feel like if I out one of those right now, they're going to come for me. I can't have that because people like you, the salty like fish, like if I start talking about like how the best sandbar in the area is in XYZ area, I feel like you're going to come for me and be like, why the hell did you say that on the podcast?
Yeah, exactly.
Can I talk about a listing?
I could feel that. Yeah, Go for it. No, hey, if that's what you want to do, this is your time. And thank you for joining us today. So you go ahead and you tell us what we need to hear.
I'm going to talk about a listing because this one is actually really special. And I normally wouldn't do this, but this property is so substantial. And I think if you're an agent in Delray Beach, Fort Lauderdale, Boca, and you have a buyer that's looking for like a very modern, turnkey, brand new type home, I have a listing in Palm Beach Gardens that is It's so beautiful. It's so minimalist. It's modern. It's brand new. It's listed just under 13 million intercoastal front. But the reason why I'm saying it is because in Delray and Fort Lauderdale and in Boca, this style of architecture is fairly common now. It wasn't 10 years ago, but now it's become, that like modern, like the glass and like just the minimalist modern look, right?
They've got that little like wood fascia on the outside that covers one wall.
Yep. This home, the builder owner took a gamble by being really one of the first homes in our area that really lean into that. We have a lot in Jupiter. We have a lot of like British West Indies type, and like Meisner type waterfront homes. Yeah. But anyway, it's on Palmwood. It's a gem. We had a listing launch there that had like the entire street was like wall to wall agents, which I love. Awesome. Show up and support your broker brethren.
100%.
Like I always tell my team, it's so important.
Well, it goes back to number one, knowing the inventory, but number two, like we said, networking with the agents that are in your market, because if they know that you're there to support them, guess what happens when you've got a multiple offer scenario? And I've said it to you guys a million times already, multiple offer scenario, Holly comes to the door and she's like, I've got the exact same price as little Bo Peep who just walked in and doesn't know anybody in town. And who are they going to choose? They're going to choose you because they know that you're going to get the job done and you're going to bring your buyer to the closing table.
Dude, that is 2020, 2021, 2022 in a nutshell. Like in a nutshell. And I am so shameless with that. Like I literally say that out loud to agents where I don't know them or they give me an indication. Like I used to do this with multiple offers. I'm like, can I give you some feedback? Okay. I did not present your offer as the one that I think we should move forward to the seller because of X, Y, Z. Like these are the issues with your contract because they're not going to get better if they don't know. Right. But that was, and I think that also what's really cool is that was something that was straight across the country, like the agent to agent relationships that everyone really doubled down on. That's not unique to South Florida at all.
Right. Yeah. And there's a lot of national groups that you see, especially like on social media. People are part of these Facebook groups and they're part of those groups for a reason. It's because they've been vetted already by their peers and somebody invited you to be a part of this group. And now when somebody in California is looking for somebody in Jupiter, they know that you're trustworthy. You've got all like 1,000 people in a group that have all vouched for you across the country saying, yeah, she's the go-to agent in that marketplace. And it does wonders for your business.
The consistency of showing up. Like you can't just join those groups and just be like a fly on the wall and like you have to put in the work. It's interesting right now. What's the membership? I've been meaning to ask one of you guys about this. Has our association membership increased or decreased in the last year?
Our association membership has been on a steady incline, but in the last year, we've probably had a little bit more of a plateauing, I would say, than actually losing agents.
So what's interesting is that South Florida in general and the realtor profession in general is on an incline, right? So it should be on an incline, except for the people that have gotten out of the business. Right. So the ones recently that have opted to either let their license go involuntary, whatever, like have just...
Some people have left the business, but at the same time, we had such an influx of people that were getting their real estate license that we don't see that big of a change in numbers because DBPR was so backed up with people that were waiting in line to actually get their license approved. So it's sort of eating up any attrition that we're having. Yeah,
I think those numbers are really, really interesting.
It is interesting.
Anything right now related to the population in South Florida is just, I'm obsessed with it. And I think developers here in South Florida, developers, municipalities, if we don't start approving, I say this all the time about Martin County, if Martin County doesn't start approving projects that are being presented to them, we are going to be in a world of hurt. These teachers and even doctors, literally even doctors, teachers, doctors, cops, firefighters that can't afford to live anywhere are going to be moving to Asheville, North Carolina. I mean, how many people do we know that have moved to the Carolinas and they've taken their careers with them? Like our infrastructure is going to be, and it's funny because it's not even like a realtor's job to be taking this position, but it's something that I'm really passionate about. Like looking at the writing on the wall, the prices of homes here has increased so much and people are getting so priced out that our infrastructure stands a real chance to be threatened.
I have good news for you that it is a realtor's position to take, and we have a huge advocacy arm that I'm going to talk with you about after we're done with this podcast.
I know exactly what you're
We're going to get you hooked up with the right people.
Listen, the market has chilled out. I have the time. I will become involved.
Okay, fantastic. I love it.
Hold me to it.
I love it. Okay, well, everybody, that was Holly Meyer Lucas. I hope that you enjoyed our time here on RWorldTalk, and I will see you all next time. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.